Welcome to 15-Minute Fundamentals, where we break down crypto projects and learn about the drivers behind the data you see on our charts. Today, I'm joined by Miles Anthony from Decentral Games, the team behind Ice Poker, play and earn poker game in the metaverse. Our full conversation with Miles went way over 15 minutes, so we couldn't fit everything in this. If you want to hear all of Miles' thoughts on the broader ecosystem, DG's plans for scaling and populating the metaverse, and what effects the recent changes in the market environment might have, you can head over to watch the full interview, to which you'll find a link in both the pinned comment and the show notes. Hey Miles, welcome to 15-Minute Fundamentals. It's great to have you on.
Hey Ascari, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Of course. To kick things off, could you just give us a quick intro, 1 to 2 minutes, to what Decentral Games is for those not yet familiar?
Yeah, of course. We started building Decentral Games, kind of out of interest for the metaverse. We felt that the metaverse was going to be, a big new platform, to develop applications in, and, being one of the first ones to do that, I think, we felt was a very lucrative opportunity. And so we started building DG in early 2019 during the bear market, and started just building games that we thought people would like to play, games that people were already familiar with, like casino style games. Didn't really achieve product market fit until we launched Ice Poker, though, which was over two and a half years after we founded the project. Basically, just paired one of our existing games with kind of like a newer token, incentive model for rewarding good gameplay. And so, today, our main product is Ice Poker. It's basically, free to play and earn poker in the metaverse. And so, today also, looking forward to diving into a bit more detail on, where we're taking that, because we really just see it as kind of the base layer of our, greater, vision for the project.
Awesome. Play and earn models have definitely gained a lot of interest over the last year, but the business models powering them might still be a mystery to a lot of people. Could you walk us through Decentral Games' business model and your different revenue streams so we understand how cash flows within your ecosystem?
Yeah, certainly. So we have a few different revenue streams for the DG treasury. It's all kind of built around the Ice Poker ecosystem. So wearables mints, we would host wearable mints in ETH or ICE. So that's obviously a driver for revenue. Wearable activation. So if you actually purchase a wearable from secondary marketplace like OpenSea, then you have to activate it. Originally, we charged a DG fee. After a recent governor's proposal, it was changed to ICE. So that's directly goes into the treasury as well. That's a source of revenue. And then finally, upgrades. So, our model is kind of built around this kind of upward mobility for players. And so all initial wearables start as level 1, and then users can upgrade them up to level 5, which we call diamond hands. And so each time someone upgrades, they pay a DG and an ICE fee that goes to the treasury as well. ICE is burned, the DG goes to the treasury. And so those are kind of the three main sources of revenue from just the actual wearables themselves. And then on top of that, we have secondary sales revenue. So 4.9% of all secondary sales on OpenSea also goes to the treasury, and that's, of course, in ETH.
And if we look at the revenue composition, you have everything that you mentioned here. So you have the mints, you have the royalties, activations, and upgrades. I think at this stage, you're speaking about both the ICE token and the DG token. It would be great if you could briefly explain how or what the role of ICE is in your ecosystem. So how does the play and earn model work in practice?
Yeah, definitely. So ICE is essentially the utility token of the ecosystem. It's given as a reward for daily active play. Basically, our objective here was just to populate the metaverse. Obviously the metaverse is very nascent, and it's in a lot of cases it's empty. And so we felt that with ICE, by launching ICE and kind of incentivizing this player liquidity in the metaverse, there'd be immense value in that. That's also something we can kind of go into a bit later, because due to being able to populate the metaverse, we have a few advertising deals that we're looking into to add another revenue stream for the treasury. So it is valuable to actually just get people into the metaverse, get them playing games, playing Ice Poker 24/7. And so ICE is basically incentivizing that, and then as people earn ICE, they can then use it either to mint more wearables, upgrade their existing items to kind of flashier, kind of higher bonus items. And then for DG is our governance token. So it's basically just governing the treasury. which has taken a bit of a hit over the last week, but it's sizable amount of it's in stable coins. So that's governed by DG holders at the moment. I think it's around a little under 40 million.
Looking at the charts here in more detail, you came out the gate really strong when you launched Ice Poker. If we look at the charts available on Token Terminal for the last 3 months, your top 10 in protocol revenue, top 20 in total revenue, and then top 5 in regards to both price to sales and price to earnings valuation multiples. I'd love to hear what the main drivers have been behind going from launching a new product to being one of the top grossing protocols in just a matter of months.
I think it really just revolves around, people wanting to spend within the ecosystem. And so for us, we really wanted to build like a really fun game. We kind of had a slight advantage because we just are building on top of an existing game that's very well known, Texas Hold'em poker. And so, I think a lot of the revenue is just is driven by just people wanting to participate in the ecosystem, A, and then B, continuously, reinvesting the rewards back into the ecosystem. I think that's really, we obviously had an advantage on that because we didn't really have to reinvent the wheel in terms of creating a new game. We kind of took an existing game that people loved, added some kind of token economic elements to it. I think it's been great to see, even during kind of a macro downturn, to see that people are still willing to reinvest and invest new capital directly into the ecosystem. So I think that's really mainly what's driving the revenue. I think we've tried to build it so people would want to do this out of just kind of clout or just status within our ecosystem and community, as opposed to just farming or earning. And so, even though it's been unfortunate that token values have gone down across the board, in the broader markets, we still see this investment happening and spending happening in the ecosystem.
To kind of look at how we could expect revenue to develop both composition wise and growth wise, if we recap, players buy a wearable NFT and then they either play themselves or delegate it out, through which they earn ice. And then this ice is used for upgrades and activations of wearables. So the burning of this ice is also seen as revenue, and you've also changed like the activation fee from DG to ice. Are there any upcoming changes to this either earn or burn model that you'd like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our main focuses right now is this new game mode. Like I said before, we felt that just getting a product live was top priority, and just populating the open metaverse. And so since we've done that, with 10,000 daily actives, our next, focus really from a product standpoint is just building another game mode. And this is what, we're really, looking to get live as soon as possible. The game mode's basically just sit and go single table tournaments. We're calling it Ice Poker SNG. It's basically going to add a huge additional ice sink. So as people earn ice, they'll be able to buy, something we call shine for each wearable. And then with that shine, it's basically like a tournament entry. And so with these tournaments, people will be able to compete for, prizes such as additional wearables, accessories, as well as ice. And so this is something that we see as a key kind of layer that's going to be built on top of the existing ice poker, because basically it'll act as a big ice sink for the ecosystem as people will burn their ice to enter these tournaments, and B, it'll act as a kind of a fast track for our highly skilled players that are ones that are really good at poker to basically win their way to ownership, win their way to owning their own wearable, if they're a delegated player. And so it's kind of hits on these two points, which I think are really key, because obviously, having token sinks are very important for any play in our ecosystem for long-term sustainability. And the second part, having a fast track way for highly skilled players to kind of move up the ranks within the ecosystem from, renting an asset to owning an asset, I think is really key, because without that, then, folks are able to kind of just, or they get too comfortable, just kind of extracting value by renting. And I think that's kind of a problem that a lot of play and earn ecosystems are kind of dealing with right now. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to launch this new game mode.
Tournament mode sounds pretty exciting. And on the subject of token sinks, we can click on token incentives here on our key metrics dashboard to see the amount of ICE that players and wearable owners earn through gameplay. The total amount of token incentives here also includes governance rewards that you pay out to stakers, and anyone listening that wants to see a more detailed view can hop over to the composition chart and select token incentives. But we'll focus on ICE incentives for now, because I'd like to hear what you think about the current ratio of ICE earned to ICE burned and how you're thinking about keeping the ICE economy sustainable for the long run.
Yeah, definitely. I think the burn to earn ratio is one of the most important metrics that any play and earn game needs to track. It's something that we really monitor very closely. And so, yeah, our burn to earn is roughly around zero point 0.7. So basically every, one ICE token that's emitted, 0.7 is roughly is burned through like kind of reinvestment into the ecosystem. And so right now, this is kind of driven by, wearable mints. And so basically, I think people kind of talk about this as like net positive or net negative of token sinks. And so, basically when you have a net positive token sink, yeah, people are burning the tokens, but, when they're doing that, they're basically going to be emitting more in the future. And so in our case, obviously as people upgrade, they'll have higher bonuses. So in the future, they'll earn more ICE. Or if people mint new wearables with ICE, obviously those wearables will then be a new source of emission. And so I think the main kind of challenge with burn to earn is kind of differentiating between these net negative, net positive sinks. And so, that's kind of ties back into Ice Poker SNG. As Ice Poker SNG, we're really aiming to establish one of the most powerful net negative sinks due to the amount of, ice that is burned and then kind of, wearables that are distributed as a result. That ratio being in attack to be a net negative effect on kind of, ice emission. So, yeah, I think, even though our burn to earn is very healthy, I think with the sentiment around play and earn recently, it's been a bit tough, but I think we can address it. And we're in a very lucrative position, I think, just in general in the play and earn space, to be able to deliver on something like a net negative sink, like through tournament mode, because people are kind of already accustomed to the experience of, you spending, tokens or burning tokens to enter tournaments for poker. It's not something that's like a new concept really. Whereas in, other games, maybe, people aren't as comfortable or accustomed to like spending to enter, certain types of gameplay. So yeah, really looking forward to getting that out. I think it's going to be something that we always planned on launching, but we just really wanted to get Ice Poker kind of base layer with that initial base, like player liquidity live as soon as we could.
Got it. So we could expect the revenue generated via burning ICE to go up as tournament mode is launched. How about ETH revenue? So the revenue generated via mints and secondary sale royalties.
I would say ETH from mints definitely has gone down just because the market sentiment has pulled back. In the early days of Ice Poker, we ran some ETH mints and were able to bring in quite a bit of revenue for the DG treasury. Since then, we've kind of done ICE mints just to be able to stabilize the ecosystem, burn some ICE tokens. And so I think, from an ETH side, definitely going to decline from mints because we're probably going to only do mints and ICE, at least for the time being. And so we can kind of, until macro kind of play and earn recovers a bit. But, that being said, as we continue to grow, we do expect our secondary sales, royalties, revenue and ETH to grow as more and more people enter the ecosystem. So yeah, we'll probably see kind of like a downward trend on the mints, ETH revenue, upward trend on the royalties and ETH.
Currently, a lot of the value from secondary sales is going to OpenSea via their fees. Do you have any plans on keeping that value within the DG ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our biggest projects right now for our web team is building an NFT marketplace. And so, it'd be nice to not have to pay the 2.5% fee to OpenSea for every secondary sale, because that's obviously, just value kind of leaving the ecosystem. So yeah, really looking forward to getting that NFT marketplace live on our website.
Thanks a lot for this session. Lots of interesting stuff and a good breakdown of the fundamentals of what Decentral Games is. Thanks, Miles.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.